Miranda's hand trembled as she opened her door and stepped inside. She leaned against it, her heart pounding. Did she want this? Want him? Despite everything, he'd threatened to kill her father, kept her captive against her will. And there was the violence, the danger, the impossibility of it all. Yet the answer was terrifyingly simple. Yes, she wanted Dante Valerio, wanted him with an intensity that defied logic or reason, wanted him in ways that scared her because she'd never wanted anyone like this before. Hell, she'd never even had a boyfriend before. But wanting him and acting on that want were two different things. She came here as Dante the Mafia King's captive. Miranda looked at herself in the mirror. The question was, who was she now? And what was she going to do about the man waiting for her down the hall? Dante's words replayed in her mind. You know where my room is. The door will be unlocked by midnight. She paced across the carpet, back and forth. She knew this was insane. She was a psychologist. Dante couldn't love her in the way she deserved. He was never going to leave his dangerous life for her. But her heart didn't care about psychology. Miranda stopped in front of her closet and picked out a short, red, netty nightgown that barely covered her thighs. She lay in bed, watching the time tick by. When the clock struck midnight, she rose. She shouldn't do this. How could she give in to feelings that made no sense? Miranda's heart hammered as she walked barefoot down the corridor toward Dante's bedroom. She stopped outside his door. Her hand raised to knock, then hesitated. She could still turn back and return to her room, pretend this moment never happened. But her hand dropped to the doorknob instead. It was unlocked, just as he'd promised, and Miranda pushed the door open. Dante stood by the window, his back to her, looking out at the city lights. He'd removed his jacket and shoes. His white shirt was partially unbuttoned, the sleeves rolled up to reveal his forearms. He turned when he heard the door. His dark brown eyes swept over her, the short nightgown, the way it clung to her curves. She looked dazzling even in the night, stealing the breath from his lungs. Her beauty, her nervous expression, it struck all at the same time. Staring at her, standing there presenting herself to him, he felt it surge through him, triumph, possession, desire. Miranda's instinct was to run, to flee back to her room and lock the door. Every rational part of her brain screamed that this was wrong, that she was betraying herself, that crossing this threshold meant surrendering a part of herself she could never get back. But her feet stayed planted. Her body refused to listen to her mind. Dante crossed the room and stopped in front of her, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his body. His hand came up to touch her face. "You came," he whispered. Miranda couldn't speak. Her throat had closed up. She managed a small nod. "You have no idea what I'm going to do to you." His thumb traced along her jaw. "Once you cross this line with me, Miranda, there's no going back. You'll be mine, permanently." Did she want this? Her body certainly did. Heat pooled low in her belly. She wanted his hands on her, touching her, fulfilling all the sinful thoughts in her head. "Yes," she admitted. "I'm ready." Dante's eyes flashed with desire. He stepped back and moved to his desk. When he returned, he held a black file. "I need you to sign this first." Miranda's stomach dropped. "What is it?" "A mistress contract, stating that you're exclusively mine." "A mistress contract?" Miranda took the papers, looking up at him. "Is this all you think I am?" Her hands began to shake. This wasn't romance or love. Just a business transaction to him, to be his mistress in exchange for her father's debt cleared. Dante's gaze grew intense with affection. "Trust me. It's precisely because you mean so much more to me that I need you to sign it. I never want to lose you, Miranda." Something in his eyes seemed sincere, and Miranda believed him. She didn't even bother reading the contract. Her hand trembled as she reached for the pen on Dante's desk. She should have read the contract thoroughly, should have understood exactly what she was agreeing to. Instead, she signed at the bottom before she could change her mind. Dante took the papers from her, set them aside, then his hands were on her waist, lifting her effortlessly. Miranda gasped as he pulled her body against him, her legs instinctively wrapped around his waist. His mouth found hers in a kiss that stole her breath. He walked them toward the massive bed, never breaking the kiss. His hands gripped her thighs, holding her secure against him. Miranda's fingers threaded through his hair, holding on as the world tilted. Dante laid her on the bed. For a moment he just looked at her, his gaze electric. Miranda felt her heart hammer in her chest. He took off her nightgown, and her breath caught. The weight of his stare made it impossible to breathe. His hands moved with need, and Miranda felt the world narrow until there was only him. Then he froze. His eyes searched her face in shock. "Miranda," he whispered, "are you a virgin?" She nodded, unable to meet his eyes, shy. He drew in a shaky breath, fighting for control. "You should have told me," he murmured. "I don't want to hurt you." Her hand found his. "Don't stop," she whispered. "Please, Dante. I want this. I want you." He hesitated, the conflict of desire warring with restraint visible in his eyes. "You should have your first time with someone you love." "Trust me," she breathed. "There's no one I'd rather have this with than you." For a moment neither of them moved. Then Dante pressed his forehead against hers, his body trembling with emotion. "I'll be careful," he whispered. He kissed her like she was the only thing keeping him alive, and they made love all night. He brushed a strand of hair from her face and looked down at her. "That was—" He trailed off. "How do you feel?" Miranda nodded. "That was perfect, and I enjoyed every second of it." He kissed her forehead. "Sleep, and tomorrow we'll pick up from right where we left off." Miranda woke to an empty bed as the morning light filtered through the curtains. She sat up, but Dante was gone. Her heart sunk as she looked around the room. He had just abandoned her. Her eyes landed on the signed mistress contract, still on his desk, and memories of everything that had happened last night came rushing back. Miranda drew the sheet around herself and pulled her nightgown from the floor. She put it on. The walk back to her room felt like a walk of shame. Dante's guards watched her, amusement dancing across their faces as if they already knew what had happened. Once inside her room, Miranda locked the door and leaned against it. Her legs gave out and she sank to the floor. What had she done? She'd given Dante her virginity, and he had abandoned her. She refused to listen to her instincts, and now she had to live with the consequences. He didn't care about her. She felt like nothing more than another possession in Dante Valerio's collection. Miranda couldn't stay in her room. She needed to see Dante. What had happened between them last night had to mean something to him. He had said so. Her body still ached from their closeness. She found herself outside Dante's study. The door was slightly ajar, and she could hear Dante's voice, and someone else's. She pushed the door wider and froze. A woman had Dante pressed against his desk, tall, blonde, in a flattering dress, very seductive. Her hands gripped Dante's shoulders, her mouth on his. Miranda's heart stopped. Then Dante's hands shot up and pushed the woman away. She stumbled back. The woman laughed sultrily as she straightened her dress, completely unbothered by the rejection.
Dante's eyes lifted and found Miranda standing in the doorway. Surprise flashed, followed by regret that she had seen what she shouldn't have. Tears streamed down Miranda's face. She felt humiliated. The woman noticed Dante's gaze and turned. Her lips curved a smirk. "Oh, is this the little pet I've been hearing about?" Pet. Miranda couldn't believe it. That's what she was to them. Dante's jaw clenched. "Bianca, watch your mouth." The woman, Bianca, raised an eyebrow, looking Miranda up and down with obvious disdain. "Really, Dante? I thought you had better taste. She looks weak." Dante moved around his desk. "Bianca is a business associate," he said, eyes locked on Miranda's tear-streaked face. "Nothing more. She was leaving."
Bianca laughed mockingly as she picked up her purse and coat. "Business associate? Is that what we're calling it now?" She paused next to Miranda. "Enjoy him while you can, sweetheart. Men like Dante don't keep pets for long. They go for real women like me." Miranda flinched. "Bianca, one more word and our business arrangement is finished, permanently," Dante threatened. Bianca's smirk faded. She glanced between Dante and Miranda, embarrassed. "Fine," she shrugged. "I'll see myself out." She brushed past Miranda and disappeared down the hallway. "Miranda." "She kissed you," Miranda cut in, unable to control the tremor in her voice. "And I pushed her away," Dante said, stepping toward her. "You saw me push her away." "After how long?" she pressed. "How long did you let her kiss you before I walked in?" "Miranda, I didn't—" "You left." Her voice broke. "You left me alone this morning, without a word. And now there's another woman kissing you, and I'm supposed to just accept it, be grateful you pushed her away?" Dante's hands clenched into fists at his sides. "I had business to handle. The situation with Marco required—" "Don't." Miranda held up a hand. "Don't make excuses. You chose to leave like last night meant nothing to you." "It meant—" "What?" Miranda's voice rose. "What did it mean, Dante? Because right now it feels like I was just another woman in your bed." "You're not just any woman to me, Miranda." "Then what am I? You think I'm your whore because I signed some stupid contract?" Dante's expression hardened. His eyes went cold. "Miranda, lower your voice." "No," she shook her head, tears still streaming. "No, I won't. You don't get to tell me what to do, not anymore." Several of Dante's men appeared, shock written across their faces. No one spoke to Dante Valerio that way, especially not in front of his men. Miranda didn't care. She pushed past him and stormed toward the stairs. "Miranda," Dante called after her, "stop. Leave me alone." She ran up the stairs, vision blurred with tears. Miranda reached her room and tried to slam the door, but Dante's hand caught it, pushing it open. "I said leave me alone," she screamed. More men had gathered in the hallway, watching their boss being defied. Marcus, Dante's second, appeared at the top of the stairs. "Boss," he whispered, "perhaps you should let her cool down." He didn't look away from Miranda. "This is between me and her." "With respect, sir." Marcus stepped closer. "Chasing her through the house, it makes you look weak? You think I'm weak?" Dante's body went rigid. His eyes flickered to Marcus, then to the other men, before returning to Miranda's tear-stained face. His expression turned cold. He was the Don of the Valerio family. He could never show weakness in front of his men. He stepped back from Miranda's doorway. "Fine. Cool off. But we're not done talking, Miranda." He turned and walked away, down the hall, past his men. Miranda watched him go, knowing he had chosen his reputation over her, just as she had predicted. The door closed. She was alone again. She'd been such a fool. Such an idiot to think last night meant Dante felt what she felt. He was still a monster, a man who killed with no remorse. She moved to the closet and pulled out her suitcase. She was done. He couldn't keep her here. She wouldn't stay in this cage and watch him parade other women through while treating her like his personal playtime. Miranda threw clothes into the suitcase. She took some of the jewelry Dante had bought for her. It would fetch a small fortune if she sold it. Then Dante barged in, but Miranda didn't look at him. She kept packing. "What are you doing?" he demanded harshly. "Leaving." Miranda grabbed more clothes from the closet. "I'm done. You can't keep me here." "Yes, I can," he growled. "You got what you wanted. We slept together, so now I'm leaving and you can't stop me." Dante chuckled. "One night isn't enough to pay off a $500,000 debt. You know the deal, Miranda." "I'm not some object you can just trade for money," she snapped. "The only way you can stop me from leaving is if you kill me." "If you dare try to leave," he grunted, "I'll kill your father." Miranda's hands went numb. The clothes she'd been holding fell to the floor. "What?" "Your father's debt. It's still owed." Dante slipped his hands into his pockets. "And I can collect in other ways." You're not the man I gave myself to last night," Miranda whispered, barely able to breathe. "That man said he'd never force me." "I said many things last night." Dante's dark brown eyes stared coldly at her. "Doesn't change the facts. Your father owes me. You're the payment." Fresh tears spilled down Miranda's cheeks. Her chest felt like it was caving in. "You're heartless," she voice cracked. "I trusted you. I gave myself to you, but you just want to keep using me." "Yes," he admitted with pride. Miranda felt her heart break. She sank onto the bed. "I made a mistake," she murmured. "I was so stupid to trust you, to think you felt anything for me." "Do you know exactly what you signed last night, Miranda?" She shook her head, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. "You belong to me exclusively, Miranda, for as long as I choose to keep you. In exchange, your father's debt is forgiven." Miranda's blood ran cold. "What?" "You signed yourself over to me," Dante smirked. "Your body, your time, your life, all mine until I decide to release you." "No!" Miranda shook her head violently. "No, I didn't. I wouldn't." "You did." Dante dropped his hand on the bed beside her, pinning her in place, his gaze locking onto hers. "Don't pretend I used you, Miranda. You wanted it so badly, you were reckless enough not to read what you signed." "Come in, Marcus," Dante called, and Marcus entered with the same black file from yesterday. Dante took it from him and handed it to Miranda, signaling Marcus to leave with a brief nod. Miranda grabbed the papers with trembling hands and began to read through the pages. Exclusive rights, complete ownership, termination only at the master's discretion, compensation in the form of debt forgiveness. She'd sold herself, and now she's trapped under his control. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of sharing Dante's bed, of surrendering to his control, his presence everywhere, in every moment until she could hardly breathe without feeling him. Morning, afternoon, night. Whenever he wanted her close, she came. Miranda told herself it was the contract, the paper that bound her to him, the one that kept her father alive. She had no choice. That's what she repeated again and again as Dante erased the distance between them. In the study, the kitchen, even under the running water before dawn. But her body betrayed her. The way it ached for his touch, the shivers she couldn't hide, the way her breath caught when he whispered her name. She loved every bit of it. And she knew she'd lied to him. There wasn't a single part of her that hated Dante anymore, not when she'd fallen in love with her captor. Miranda stood at the window of Dante's bedroom. Her things had been moved in the day after she'd signed the contract. The bed behind her was rumpled, sheets tangled from the night before. Dante had claimed her completely until she'd fallen asleep in his arms. He'd held her afterwards, his heartbeat steady beneath her ear. Then morning came, and he was gone again, off to do whatever mafia bosses did during the day, leaving Miranda alone in his bed. The door opened. Miranda's heart jumped thinking Dante had returned early. But it wasn't Dante. Bianca stood in the doorway, dressed in a designer suit, hair and makeup flawless. Her eyes swept over Miranda, taking in the oversized shirt she wore, one of Dante's. It fell to mid-thigh, leaving her legs bare. Her hair was messy, her lips still marked from his kisses. Disgust flashed across Bianca's beautiful face. "You're still here." She didn't hide her disdain. Miranda crossed her arms over her chest. The shirt provided coverage, but she still felt exposed. "I live here." "Live here? Is that what you call it?"
She stepped into the room uninvited. "You're his toy, sweetheart. Don't pretend it's anything more." Miranda felt offended. "Get out." "Gladly." She examined her manicured nails. "I just came to give you some friendly advice, woman to woman." "We're not friends." "No, we're not." Bianca's smile was fake. "Which is why I can be honest with you. Dante will get bored of you. He's only using you to pass the time. Once he's done, you're done."
Miranda's nails bit into her palms. "You don't know anything about us." "Don't I?" Bianca moved closer. "I've known Dante for years. I know exactly what kind of man he is." Jealousy burned through Miranda. The thought of Bianca with Dante, of him touching her the way he touched Miranda, made her chest ache. "Then why are you here?" Miranda's voice shook. "If you know him so well, if you've had him, why keep coming back?" "Because unlike you, I understand the game." Bianca's eyes narrowed. "I don't delude myself into thinking there's anything real between us. It's business, pleasure, nothing more. Good for you. You, on the other hand," Bianca's gaze raked over Miranda again. "You're falling for him. I can see it, the way you look at him." Miranda froze. She wanted to deny it, to tell Bianca she was wrong. But she couldn't. "Pathetic." Bianca shook her head. "He kills people for a living, and you're what? Hoping he'll fall in love with you? Hoping this will turn into some fairy tale?" "I'm not hoping for anything at all." "Yes, you are," Bianca shot back. "You'll soon realize he's incapable of love. All you are to him is a body to keep him warm." Tears stung Miranda's eyes, but she forced them back. She wouldn't cry in front of this woman. "Whatever happens between me and Dante is none of your business." Bianca's gaze softened slightly, something like pity flickering there before it vanished. "I just don't like watching women make fools of themselves over men who'll never give them what they want. That's why I'm warning you." "Isn't that what you're doing? Making a fool of yourself every time you come around?" A muscle twitched in Bianca's jaw. "I'm only here on business." "Business," Miranda laughed, not believing Bianca. "Right, because that's what all your interactions with Dante are?" Bianca's eyes flared. "At least I'm not deceiving myself." "You're only jealous that the woman he chooses to spend his nights with isn't you. I am not jealous of you. You're nothing but a temporary distraction." "Then why are you here?" Miranda took a step forward. "Why do you care so much about what happens between Dante and me?" "Because he's mine." Bianca's voice broke through the air before she could stop herself. "Dante and I are cut from the same cloth. He'll always be mine." Miranda's tone hardened. "But he doesn't want you." Bianca's hand twitched, and for a moment Miranda thought she would strike her, but Bianca lowered her hand. "He'd rather draw up a contract just to keep me as his," Miranda revealed. Bianca said coldly, "You think sleeping with him makes you special?" "And you," Miranda shot back, "you've been chasing him for years. You just can't stand that he wants me more than he's ever wanted you." Bianca's lips curved in a mocking smile. "Enjoy it while it lasts, sweetheart, because soon your time will be up." She turned angrily and walked away. Miranda stood still, her heart pounding. She told herself Bianca's words meant nothing, but deep down, fear crept in. She wasn't ready to lose Dante. A month later. Dante took Miranda to his security firm, a front for business that wasn't always clean. She still hated the contract that bound her to him, but she loved him anyway. And Dante was changing. He was calmer now, less ruthless. Even his men whispered about it, some saying it was because of her. They didn't like that. They feared how much influence she had over him. Miranda sat beside Dante in the conference room. 6 of his men filled the space. Marcus, Jerome, and others she had come to know. Across from them sat a businessman proposing a partnership that would open new territory in the southern ports. The man talked numbers and profits, his voice steady, but his eyes shifting slightly whenever Dante mentioned the port authorities. Miranda noticed the tension in his jaw, the way his hand fidgeted with his watch. Something wasn't right. When the meeting ended, the man stood and extended his hand. Miranda leaned closer to Dante. "Don't trust him," she whispered. "He's lying about the port authorities. He wants your roots, but not the risk. He wants all the benefit for himself." Dante's gaze flicked to hers. Then he stood and ignored his hand.
No deal, he said. The man blinked. Don Dante, I thought we had an understanding. We don't. Dante's tone turned cold. This meeting is over. Marcus will show you out. The man's face lost its color as Marcus led him away. The room fell silent. Boss, you were looking forward to that deal. How did you know he was lying? Jerome broke the brief silence. Dante rested his hand on Miranda. Miranda has a talent for reading people. The men exchanged uncertain glances. You trust her judgment over your own? Carlo asked skeptically. Dante's eyes got cold. Don't ever question me, Carlo. Then he continued. Franco only wanted to trap us, get us invested, and then take our money. He placed a hand on Miranda's waist. She saved us from a bad deal. No one spoke after that, but Miranda could feel their suspicious stares, the unease. They saw her as a threat now. She should have felt proud. Instead, she felt nervous. You trust her judgment over your own? Never question me in front of an outsider. Do you understand? I'm sorry, Dante. It's just, we can't work with that man. He's been in bed with our rival. Dante shifted his gaze to Miranda, reading her the way she read others. You really think I should trust him? I think you should use him, she said firmly. With all due respect, boss, I think we should stay far away from him. We still don't know why he is here or what his real intentions are.
He's here because you're the strongest, Dante, Miranda countered. You're the one who can give him what he needs, protection, and a chance to strike back at Marco, the man who betrayed him. Miranda noticed how the men glared at her, clearly irritated by the weight Dante gave her words, but she pressed on, swallowing hard. He has information, connections, and a territory that's been our rival until now. If he's genuine about switching sides, he's an asset. If he's lying, you'll discover it quickly enough. Either way, you gain something. Dante's lips curved slightly. Not quite a smile, but close. You're thinking like one of us now. Miranda let out a half-smile, unsure if she should take it as a compliment or feel ashamed that this place was turning her into someone else. Still, she couldn't deny the thrill she felt, the power, the influence she had over Dante. Maybe I am, she said softly, her lips curling into a faint smile. Dante made the deal with Antonio, against all his men's advice and even against his own instincts that told him to refuse. But he did it because Miranda told him to, because he trusted her judgment. 3 weeks later, the deal paid off massively. Antonio had delivered information about a shipping route Marco controlled to Dante, and Dante and his men hijacked and redirected the shipment to his organization. The operation was successful. A clean transfer of goods worth millions of dollars. Dante's profits soared, and with that success, his territory expanded into his rival Marco's domain. His power grew, all thanks to the one woman who had shattered his world the moment he met her, and rebuilt it in the same heartbeat. Dante came home that night with a black box. He found Miranda curled up on the couch, reading Forbes. She looked up when he entered, and her heart did that stupid flutter it always did whenever she saw him. Dante crossed the room, the faint smile curving his lips. "My beautiful Miranda," he murmured, handing her the box. She set the magazine aside and sat up, curious as she opened it. There was a key inside. "What is this?" she asked, looking up at him. Dante's eyes were warmer than she'd ever seen them. "Come with me," he said, gesturing with his head for her to follow. He led her to the garage. Miranda hardly ever went there. Her eyes moved around slowly. It was massive, lined with luxury cars that cost more than most people's dream homes. Dante paused at one car. It looked new, a blue Ferrari. Miranda blinked in confusion. "Dante, what's going on?" "It's yours." He pressed the key into her palm, his eyes fixed on her. "A thank you for what you did. The deal with Antonio made me more than $8 million. This is a fraction of that." Miranda stared at the car,
then at the key in her hand, and finally at Dante's face. Her jaw dropped. Dante bought her a car. She screamed inside her head, so he did have feelings for her after all. Otherwise, why would he do something like this? Miranda sat on the car, in awe, then looked at the key again, then at Dante. She shook her head. I can't accept this. You can, he countered softly. You can. His hand came up, cupping her cheek. You've earned this, Miranda. You've proven yourself valuable beyond what I ever expected. Valuable. The word replayed in her head. She couldn't help but wonder if she was only valuable in business or also in Dante's personal life. But the way he said it, the look at his eyes as he gazed at her, told her this wasn't just business. Emotions she couldn't name swelled inside her. Thank you, she whispered. But how can I possibly take this when my father still owes you $500,000? But not everyone was happy about Miranda's growing influence. Dante's men watched her with cold, wary eyes. She heard whispers about her and Dante's falseness, the sidelong glances, the way they went quiet whenever she entered a room. Marcus was the worst. His resentment was barely hidden. He'd been Dante's friend for years. And beyond the Valerio fortress walls, word spread. Dante's rival, Marco Terrasso, and his organization heard about the woman in Dante Valerio's life, the woman who had his ear, his trust, maybe even his heart. They saw weakness, opportunity. A man in love was a man vulnerable, a man who could be controlled through the thing he cared most about. Miranda felt the danger drawing closer every day. She should have been afraid, or wanted to run, but she didn't. She stayed beside Dante, because somewhere along the line this had stopped being about the contract or her father's debt. It had become about them, about what they built between anger and passion, about a connection that defied logic and reason. Miranda was playing in dangerous waters, in a world that destroyed people like her. But she couldn't walk away from it, because Dante looked at her like she was his entire world. And Miranda looked at him the exact same way. They couldn't be apart from each other, even if the consequence could destroy them both. Dante paused at the doorway when he saw Miranda and Maria talking. His eyes narrowed as he caught Miranda slipping something into Maria's hand. You are too kind, Miss Cole, Maria said, with a smile before hurrying away. Don Dante, she greeted politely, as she passed him and left the room. Miranda turned and beamed when she saw him. Dante! She ran toward him and tried to hug him, but he stopped her with a hand on her arm. Miranda, we need to talk. His tone was serious. Her smile faded. I know what you're about to say, and I'm sorry I didn't tell you. It just seemed unfair that Maria was being punished because of me. You had her working for months without pay, all because I tried to escape. She didn't even know I was planning on leaving. I deceived her. I just couldn't take it anymore, so I gave her one of the jewelry pieces you gifted me. Miranda, he murmured. Look, Dante, I know I shouldn't be giving out the gifts you give me. They're from you to me, I know. But she needed it more. She has a family. Dante sighed and shook his head slightly. I don't care what you do with the gold, diamonds, jewelry I give to you, Miranda. They're all yours. I'll still gift you every day. That's not the issue. Then what is it? Miranda asked, frowning when she saw the sadness in his eyes. What's wrong? Did something happen? Dante took her hand, his fingers tightening around her as he looked into her eyes. It's your father, he murmured. Her body tensed. What about him? He's dead, Miranda. I'm sorry. What? The words didn't make sense. Miranda shook her head. No, that's not possible. He was perfectly fine when I left home. My men who were guarding him say he died in his sleep. Dante's thumb stroked her knuckles. Miranda pulled her hand away and stumbled to her feet. You killed him. I swear, Miranda, I didn't. You're lying. I'm not. Dante reached for her. Miranda. Don't touch me, her voice cracked. Don't. I can't. The room spun. Her knees gave out and she sank to the floor. Her father was gone. She'd never see him again, or hear his voice, or tell him she loved him. She hated his drinking and gambling habits, but he was still her father, the only family she had left. And now she'd lost him. All because of gambling debts. Because of Dante. Because of this nightmare she'd been living in. Sobs tore from her chest as Dante knelt beside her and pulled her into his arms despite her weak attempts to push him away. It's all your fault, Dante. You didn't give a damn about him. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Miranda. Miranda cried into his chest. She hated herself for letting him hold her, hated that his arms felt safe when everything else had fallen apart. But she couldn't pull away. Her father was gone, and she was alone.
The funeral came 3 days later. Dante paid for everything: the casket, the service, the burial plot. He didn't spare any expense in giving Gary, the father of the woman he was in love with, a befitting burial. Miranda stood at the graveside in a black dress Dante had bought her. His arm was around her waist, holding her upright as they lowered her father into the ground. Few people came. A handful of old friends, a few distant relatives she barely knew. Her father had died alone, in debt, disgraced. And now he was being buried in a grave paid for by the man who'd owned his daughter. Dante's lips pressed against her temple. His arm tightened around her. He's at peace now, Dante said quietly, just for her. Your father got what was coming to him. Miranda froze. The words echoed in her mind. Got what was coming to him. Like her father deserved to die. Like it was justice. Cold fear slid up her spine. She pulled away from Dante, and his arm dropped to his side. The rest of the service blurred past. People offered condolences, words that couldn't take away the pain in her heart. Then they left. Only Dante stayed, silent beside her, waiting. I need to go home, Miranda said quietly, to my father's house. There are things I need to handle. I'll send men with you. No, the word came out harsher than she meant. I need to do this alone. Please, Dante, just give me 1 day. No guards, no watching. Let me mourn my father in peace. Dante blinked, his dark brown eyes steady on her. Miranda? Please. Her voice broke. I'm not going to run. I just need time. Space. A muscle ticked in his cheek. He didn't like the idea of leaving her alone. But he nodded, reluctantly. Fine. Just 1 day. But call me if anything happens. Anything. I will, Miranda promised. Marcus leaned in and whispered in Dante's ear. From the look on Dante's face, Miranda knew Marcus wanted him to go, though Dante didn't want to leave her. It's okay, Miranda said. I'll stay with my dad a little longer, then I'll be ready to leave. Dante nodded and walked away with Marcus. Alone, Miranda folded in on herself. I'm so sorry, Dad, that I wasn't there to help you. You must have been so sad, not knowing how I was doing, while I was there, loving the man who separated us. She cried for a few minutes, then drew a deep breath. I love you, Dad. Goodbye. Before she left to meet Dante, Bianca stepped in front of her, no trace of sympathy in her cold eyes.
I heard about your father, Bianca said, fake pity in her voice. My condolences. Miranda tried to move past her, but Bianca blocked the way. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Even if it's about how your father really died, Bianca asked her eyebrow. Even if I told you whatever Dante said is a lie. Miranda's blood ran cold. What are you talking about? Bianca glanced around to make sure they were alone. Your father was murdered, sweetheart. Made to look like a natural death. You're lying, Miranda said, voice shaking. Am I? Bianca stepped closer. Think about it. Your father owed Dante money. He was a liability, an embarrassment. And you, her smile went cruel, you served your purpose, didn't you? Dante had his fun, got what he needed. Now it's time to clean up loose ends. That means you're next. Dante wouldn't hurt me, Miranda breathed. Wouldn't he? Bianca's eyes glittered. He's a killer, Miranda. You think he cares about you? You think you're special? You're a pawn. When he's done with you, you'll end up like your father, dead and buried. Stop! Miranda's hands trembled. I'm trying to save your life. Bianca gripped Miranda's arm hard enough to bruise. I've seen him do this. He charms women, uses them, then disposes of them when they become inconvenient. You need to leave now, before it's too late. Bianca let go and walked away. Miranda stood frozen. Her heart pounded. Her mind raced. Dante killed her father, and now he was going to kill her. No, it couldn't be true. He cared for her, she told herself, but doubt crept in. Your father got what was coming to him. Dante's words echoed in her head. She needed air. She hurried toward Dante, desperate to hear him say Bianca was lying. She stopped dead when she saw him and Marcus talking in low voices. As soon as she's served her purpose, I'll get rid of her myself, she heard Dante say. It's the only way, boss. She ain't standing with us, boss. I know what needs to be done, Dante said cold. Miranda stumbled back, clutching her chest in shock. Bianca was telling the truth, she told herself. Dante was going to kill her, just like he killed her father. She had been so stupid, so naive to think he loved her more than his men. He was a monster, a murderer, and she was next. Miranda had followed Dante home, claiming she needed to be around him a little longer before she left. He had no idea what she had planned. Whilst he went to his study, she took advantage and packed all the jewelry Dante had given her over the past months. Necklaces, earrings, bracelets, wristwatches made of gold, diamonds, rubies, and emeralds. Each piece was worth a small fortune if she sold even one to kickstart her new life. Miranda stuffed the jewelry box into her bag. Her heart hammered. Her breath came in short gasps. She had to run before Dante realized she'd figured out his plan. She knew she couldn't pack clothes, or he'd notice. She slipped out before Dante finished his meeting in the study, but she couldn't leave without visiting her home one more time. As soon as Dante's driver dropped her off at her home with her new car, Miranda stepped in, feeling the memories of her father in the house. His smell, she knew he was really gone. Otherwise, he'd have come out when he heard the door open. She noticed the house was clean. That was unlike her father. He'd jump over a dirt. So she knew that Dante had done a good job maintaining the house. If only he'd just maintained her dad's life, too, all would have been well. He never let her leave so she couldn't see her father. She grabbed a photo of her parents from a table and crashed on the floor. Then she heard the sound of a car pulling up outside. She went to the window and saw it, a sleek, expensive car, but not one of Dante's. A few seconds later, she heard a knock at the door. Miranda opened the door a crack, and her eyes widened in shock. Marco Tarrasso stood on the porch. She recognized him from the Mafia dinner night. Miranda Cole. His smile didn't reach his eyes. I came to offer my condolences. Marco Tarrasso, she murmured. How did you know I was here? It's good you remember me, so no need for introductions. Miranda forced a smile. But I'd rather be alone right now if you don't mind. She tried to close the door, but Marco's foot blocked it. She looked up at him, nervous. Well, I've come all the way, and I won't leave without you knowing why I'm here. He stared at her with a kind of coldness that made her afraid of whatever danger was brewing in his head. I know about your arrangement with Dante Valerio. I know you're his mistress, and that he lied to us all. Miranda shook her head. She knew she had to be smart and keep their secret, keep the mistress contract hidden. Dante had told her it was for her own protection, and she couldn't give that away now. I don't know what you're talking about, she lied. Don't you? Marco pushed the door open wider. You don't have to lie to me, Miranda. Bianca already told me everything. And now Dante is planning to kill you. Seems like you're trapped. Miranda's breath caught. How did he know? I can help you. His tone was persuasive. I can get you out, give you protection, but all I need is a little information in return. Information? Her brows pulled together. About Dante's operations. Marco stepped closer. You've been living in his house, sitting in on his meetings. You know things that would be very valuable to me. I know nothing, she spat. This was insane. Betraying Dante would be suicide. He'd hunt her down and kill her. But he was going to kill her anyway, wasn't he? She'd heard him say he would get rid of her. At least with Marco, maybe she stood a chance. A chance at freedom.
Tell me what you know, and I'll help you escape Dante, Marco repeated. Miranda's hands shook as she weighed her options. Die at Dante's hands, or betray him and maybe, possibly, survive. What do you want to know? She whispered, a part of her already feeling like she was betraying him. Marco's smile widened. Everything. Miranda swallowed hard. She knew she couldn't tell him everything, but she could give him just enough to make him help her. Your new territories? Dante's occupied some of them through his deal with Antonio, but there are talks that some of your men are refusing to bend the knee to him. They're making a sale, and if it succeeds, those men will be loyal to him for good. But if he fails, you might have a chance to reclaim your territory. Marco's smile turned pleased. That's all I need to know. That's all I know, Miranda lied. She felt guilty for what she'd shared. Good, Marco nodded. Very good. This is useful information. Now it's your turn, Miranda spoke, her voice trembling. Help me leave. Get me somewhere safe. Marco's laugh was cold. Help you leave? He shook his head. Oh, sweetheart, you misunderstood. Fear spiked through Miranda's chest. What? You're not going anywhere. Marco pulled out a gun. You're much too valuable. You're Dante Valerio's woman, his weakness, his Achilles heel. No, Miranda backed away. We had a deal. I lied. Marco's smile was cruel. Did you really think I'd let you go? You're my leverage now, my insurance policy. Dante will pay anything to get you back. Give up anything. He won't, Miranda's voice cracked. He's going to kill me. He doesn't care. Oh, he cares, Marco murmured, stepping closer as Miranda stumbled backward into the house. Before Miranda could react, men appeared behind Marco, 3 of them, big and armed. Miranda tried to run deeper into the house, but rough hands grabbed her. She screamed, kicking wildly. A cloth covered her mouth and nose. A chemical smell filled her lungs. Her vision blurred. Her body went limp. The last thing she saw was Marco's satisfied smile. Then everything went black. Dante's world fell apart the moment Marcus told him Miranda was gone. His men, who had gone to her house to pick her up, saw no sign of her. He called her phone, but she didn't answer. He searched through her house and found only her bag filled with the jewelry he had bought her. Then it hit him. She wanted to escape him. But it didn't make sense. Why would she leave with nothing? Something was wrong. And he was right. Neighbors had said they had seen a black car and men forcing a woman inside, Marcus told him. Dante stormed into his study and destroyed it.
He flipped his desk, shattered glasses against the wall, and his roar of rage echoed throughout the entire mansion. His men gathered, watching their boss lose control. "Find her," Dante ordered, his voice deadly quiet. "Turn the city upside down. I don't care what it takes. I don't care who you have to hurt. Find Miranda now." Marcus stepped forward. "Boss, we're doing everything we can. We've got eyes everywhere. Something will turn up." "Not good enough." Dante grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the wall. "She's been gone 6 hours. 6 hours. Anything could have happened to her." "We'll find her," Marcus said, steady even under Dante's fury. Dante released him. His hands shook. His whole body vibrated with barely contained rage and fear. Fear. He hadn't felt that in years. Nothing had mattered enough to terrify him. Until Miranda. The woman he'd sworn to control, to keep at arm's length, the woman he had fallen for despite every wall he'd built. "Boss," Jerome burst in, flushed and breathless. "We got a hit. One of our informants saw Marco's men at an old warehouse on the east side. They're holding a woman there." Dante's blood boiled. Marco had Miranda. He exhaled through his teeth. "Get everyone," he ordered. "Every man we have. We're going in heavy and we're going in now." The warehouse was abandoned, the perfect place to hold a hostage. Dante's men moved into position, 20 of them, surrounding the building quietly, ready for a fight. Dante didn't wait for strategy. He kicked the door open and stormed inside. Gunfire erupted. Marco's men scattered. Dante's crew returned fire with brutal force. He pushed through the chaos, gun raised, eyes searching for the one person he needed to find, the woman he had refused to admit how much she meant to him, the most important thing in his world. But he was going to make that right. Then he saw her. Miranda, tied to a chair in the center of the room, her face bruised, her lips split, blood matted in her hair. Rage, unlike anything he'd ever known, exploded through him. "How dare you, Marco," he snarled, fixing his eyes on Miranda. She looked up at him, tears in her eyes, crying. "Dante!" she screamed. Marco stood behind her, a gun pressed to her temple, a smug smile on his face. "Dante, glad you could join us," he called. Dante aimed his gun at Marco's head, hand steady on the trigger. "Let her go." "Or what?" Marco laughed. "You'll shoot? Go ahead. My finger's on the trigger too, so we know who dies first." Miranda kept her gaze on Dante, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry, Dante," she whispered. "She gave you up, you know," Marco continued, smug. "She told you everything about your operations, your weaknesses, your plans. Your precious little heart betrayed you." Dante's men murmured behind him, anger rippling through them. Dante didn't flinch, and he did not look away from her. "Put the gun down, Marco. This ends now." "She deserves to die." Marco pressed the gun harder to her temple. Miranda whimpered. "She's mine," Dante snarled. "No one touches what's mine." Then Marcus moved, silent and fast. His knife flashed and struck Marco's hand. The gun clattered to the floor as a tendon was cut. Dante was on Marco in an instant. His fist smashed into Marco's jaw again and again until blood spattered and bones cracked. "Boss," Marcus called, dragging Dante back from the haze. "We need to go. More of his men are coming." Dante stopped while Marco lay broken at his feet. He crossed to Miranda and cut the ropes binding her. She fell forward and he caught her, lifting her into his arms. She shuddered and sobbed, clutching his shirt. "I'm so sorry, Dante," she kept saying. "Shh," Dante soothed, holding her close. "I've got you. You're safe now." They moved out through the wreckage and back to the cars, then drove back to the mansion. But the worst wasn't over for Miranda yet. Dante's men gathered in the garage of the mansion, angry and demanding that Miranda be dealt with. "She betrayed us," Carlos said, his voice harsh. "She gave Marco information that could have gotten us killed." "She needs to answer for it," Jerome added. "Betrayal is punished by death. You taught us that, boss." "She dies," Marco demanded. "It's the only way to show the other families and that bloody Marco that we won't tolerate traitors." Dante stood in the center of his men, Miranda still in his arms. He set her down, making her stand. Then he pulled his gun and pressed it to her temple. Miranda's breath hitched. Her heart raced so fast she could barely breathe. She closed her eyes. She didn't fight or beg. She had accepted her fate. "Why?" Dante whispered. "Why did you do it?" Miranda's lips trembled and tears rolled down her cheeks. "I thought you were going to kill me," she whispered. "I heard you on the phone. You said you were going to get rid of someone. And Bianca told me that you killed my father and that I was next. I got scared and I just wanted to survive." Miranda's eyes opened and met Dante's gaze.
I know it was stupid. I know I should have asked you, but I wasn't sure I could still trust you. I was terrified and desperate, and I made a horrible choice. I'm so sorry." She broke, sobbing. Dante's eyes moved to his men. They still looked merciless, hungry for Miranda's blood. His gun didn't waver. His finger rested on the trigger. His men watched, waiting for the shot, waiting for their boss to prove he was still the ruthless Don they followed. Dante's jaw clenched, a muscle twitched in his cheek. Then he lowered the gun. The room erupted. "Boss, what are you doing? She betrayed us! You can't let her live!"
Enough! Dante's roar silenced them all. He turned to face his men, the gun still in his hand. "Miranda is mine. What she did, what happens to her, that's my decision, not yours." "She's a traitor," Carlo muttered, trying to convince his boss. "She was manipulated," Dante countered, "lied to by someone I trusted." His eyes locked on Marcus. "Find Bianca. Bring her here. Now!" Marcus's eyes widened, but he nodded and left quickly. He knew this wasn't the time to question his boss. Dante turned back to Miranda, his hand cupping her bruised face. Despite the anger still burning inside him, his touch was gentle. "The woman I said I would get rid of," he continued quietly, wiping away her tears. "That was Erica, one of Marco's spies. She'd been feeding him information for months. We discovered her the day of your father's funeral. She's the one we had to eliminate, not you. Never you." Miranda's eyes searched his face. "My father?" "I didn't lie to you, Miranda. Dante died in his sleep. Heart attack, natural causes. I even had the coroner's report verified by 3 independent doctors. My men guarded your father. I didn't kill him. I wouldn't do that to you." "But Bianca said—" "Bianca lied." Dante snapped, anger flashing in his eyes. "She's been trying to get rid of you since the beginning. She manipulated you and used your fear against you. That jealous, vengeful bitch." Miranda's legs gave out, and Dante caught her, holding her close. "I'm so stupid. Of all people, I should have known she was playing me. I should have trusted you." "You were scared. I thought I was going to hurt you. I understand that." "But your men want me dead," Miranda murmured, looking at the hostile faces surrounding them. "They're right. I betrayed you." "You deserve my forgiveness," Dante's voice rang out with certainty. "Because I love you." Silence fell. Dante's men stared, shocked and disbelieving. Dante Valerio didn't love, didn't care, didn't show weakness. But here he stood, holding the woman who had betrayed him, declaring his love in front of everyone. "I love you." Dante's eyes never left hers. "I've loved you for months. Hell, I fell for you the first time I saw you, long before I wanted to admit it. You've changed me, Miranda, and I don't want to lose you, not for this betrayal or anything." Miranda's hands came up to his face, trembling, disbelieving. You love me?" "More than I ever thought possible to love anyone." Dante's forehead rested against hers. "More than my pride, more than my reputation, hell, more than my own life." Miranda kissed him, desperate and grateful, pouring everything she felt into that one moment. Dante kissed her back, not caring that his men were watching. Appearing strong or in control was the least of his thoughts now. For the first time in a long time, Dante Valerio chose love over power, and it felt so good. Dante and Miranda were still caught up in the moment when Marcus returned, dragging Bianca in as she kicked and screamed. "Let me go! You can't do this! Dante, tell him!" she yelled, her voice echoing through the room. Dante and Miranda broke their kiss. Their gazes turned to her. Dante's expression hardened instantly, his eyes cold, stripped of the warmth he'd shown Miranda. "Bianca." She froze, then smoothed her hair and tried to compose herself as Marcus released her. "Dante, thank God. Tell these men to release me. This is absurd." "You lied to Miranda," Dante cut in, his tone sharp. You told her I killed her father, and that I was going to kill her too. You manipulated her into betraying me." Bianca's face drained of color, her eyes darting around the room as if searching for an escape. "I don't know what she told you, but don't insult my intelligence." Dante stepped closer, his voice deadly. "You wanted Miranda gone. And for what? Did you think taking her out of my life would make me take her in her place instead?" His voice rose. "Why would you? You know the consequences. Why the hell would you betray me?" Bianca stopped pretending. "Because I love you," she burst out, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I've loved you for years, Dante, but you never saw me. Then she shows up, and suddenly you're different. She's ruining you. Can't you see it?" "She's saving me," Dante corrected coldly. "She's made me a better man. She's made me feel things I thought were dead inside me." "She's nothing!" Bianca's scream was desperate. "I'm better for you. I understand this life. She doesn't belong in your world. Please, Dante, I love you. Choose me." Dante's expression didn't change. No pity, no softness. "Our business arrangement is over, effective immediately. You're no longer welcome in my home or in my territory. If I see you again, if you come near Miranda again, I will kill you myself. Do you understand?" Bianca sobbed, her knees buckled. "Dante, please! Do you understand?" Bianca nodded, broken, defeated. "Get her out," Dante ordered, turning away. "Make sure she leaves the city tonight." Marcus's men dragged Bianca out. Her sobs echoed down the hallway. Dante turned back to Miranda. She stood quietly in the corner, her face bruised. "I'm sorry you had to see that." Miranda shook her head and stepped into his arms. "I'm sorry I let her deceive me. I knew she loved you, but now I know she hated me because you couldn't love her back. Because of me. I only love one woman." Dante's hands framed her face. "And she's right here." Miranda's smile was watery, painful through her split lip. "I have a confession to make." Miranda's eyes lifted to Dante, whose gaze flickered with curiosity. I love you too, Dante," she breathed. "I think I've loved you since the beginning, even when I hated you, even when I tried not to." Dante's lips curved into a small smile before he kissed her. "I know." She blinked, a soft laugh escaping her. "Was I that obvious? From the night you gave yourself to me, I knew you loved me. That's why I was so desperate to keep you by my side." "Oh," she whispered, blushing. "Never scare me like that again," he murmured against her lips. "I can't lose you, Miranda. I won't survive it." "You won't lose me." Miranda's arms wrapped around his neck. "I'm yours. Contract or no contract, I'm yours." To hell with the contract. Dante pulled back, his gaze steady on hers. "You belong to me, and I you." He gestured for Marcus to come closer. Marcus obeyed quickly, leaning in as Dante whispered something in his ear. A few minutes later, Marcus returned with a black file, the mistress contract. Miranda recognized it immediately. Marcus handed the paper that once bound her to Dante over to him. Without hesitation, Dante tore it in half. No more contracts, no more threats, just us, choosing each other every day for as long as we both want. Miranda's tears flowed freely now, happy, relieved. She'd lost her father, but she wasn't going to be alone after all. "I choose you," she whispered with certainty. "I'll always choose you." "And I choose you," Dante whispered, kissing her again. "My love, my life." Dante's men stood silent around them, watching. But in Dante's arms, Miranda knew she was home, finally free. Weeks had passed after Miranda's rescue. Her bruises had faded, her cuts healed, and she'd moved on from Marco's abduction attempt on her life. Now that she and Dante were together, she knew she couldn't just win his heart, she needed to win over his Mafia family too. Day by day she did.
With every operation she helped them close, she proved her worth again and again, showing she could be trusted. Slowly, Dante's men came around to their boss's chosen bride. She had finally found her place in Dante's world, by his side. They had breakfast together every morning, dinner every night, and slept in each other's arms afterwards. "Thank you for showing me the parts of you you've kept locked up," Miranda beamed as she lay enwrapped in Dante's arms. "You've made me love again, hope again." Dante's hands mapped every inch of her body, his lips following as Miranda arched beneath him. Her hands tangled in his hair, pulling him closer as he took her. "I love you." The words fell from her lips. "I love you. I love you." Dante's rhythm increased, his breath hot against her neck, until they shattered together, clinging to each other. Soon, Miranda realized she had missed her period. She'd been feeling tired and nauseous lately. She had her suspicions, but she had to be certain before telling Dante. She secretly took a test in the bathroom, her hands shaking, heart racing. What if it was positive, but Dante didn't want a child? Then he'd be disappointed, maybe even want to end things with me, she thought as she waited.
And if it was negative, she'd thank God and feel relieved, grateful for a little more time before they had to talk about it. They'd both avoided the subject, and maybe that was for the best. She looked down at the strip. 2 lines. Positive. She was pregnant. Miranda stared at the stick. Her mind went blank, then racing, then blank again. She was carrying Dante's baby. Fear and joy warred inside her. This world was dangerous, violent, no place for a child. But it also meant hope, a future, a family. She found Dante in his office. He looked up when she entered, smiled, then frowned when he saw her face. "What's wrong?" Miranda crossed to him and held out the test. Dante took it, stared, his face hardening. His silence made Miranda's heart beat faster. "Dante?" "I never thought," his voice was choked. "I never imagined I could have a family again." You're not disappointed?" "Absolutely not. This is the best news of my life." Dante's eyes filled with emotion as he hugged her tightly. Miranda melted into his embrace, relieved and overjoyed. "We're going to have a baby," she whispered into his hair. "We're going to be a family." Dante pulled back, his hands framing her face, his eyes bright. "I'm going to be a father." "Yes," Miranda kissed him softly. "And you're going to be amazing." Dante's hand moved to her stomach, still flat, but carrying their future. "I love you," he murmured, pressing his forehead to hers. "I love you both. More than life, more than anything." He kissed her with so much passion. The great Dante Valerio finally felt complete. But Marco was hell-bent on stealing that happiness. When Miranda went to visit her father's grave without any guards, they found their chance. Marco's men lunged at her. Miranda fought, kicked, scratched, bit, anything to survive. One man grabbed her hair, yanking her back. Pain exploded across her scalp. "Feisty! Boss'll be happy when we bring you in." "Please, let me go," she cried. He hit her hard across the face. "You have no idea what you're doing." Her hand flew to her belly, as if she could protect her baby. But his fist drove into her stomach. Miranda doubled over, gasping. Before he could hit her again, gunfire erupted. Marco's men froze. More gunfire. Then Dante appeared, taking them all down. Blood splattered across his suit. His dark brown eyes were those of a cold killer. "My darling, I'm so sorry I wasn't here sooner." Miranda trembled as Dante lifted her and carried her away while his men surrounded the bodies. "Clean this up," Dante commanded. The symbol on the men's arms told him everything. Marco's. Jerome nodded. Dante carried Miranda to his car and settled her in the passenger seat. His hands moved over her face and arms, checking for injuries. "I'm okay, Dante, but he kicked my stomach." Dante's jaw tightened. His thumb brushed her split lip. "We'll get you checked at the hospital.
And I'm going to kill that bastard Marco. I'll make him suffer for every harm he's caused you." Soon after, Dante and his men ambushed Marco's hideout. Marco had no idea one of his men was a spy who had given Dante the location. Dante's men surrounded the building that night, silently taking out Marco's guards. Dante entered the house quietly until he reached Marco's bedroom. "Get up, you bastard," he hissed, pointing a gun at Marco, who was asleep on the bed. Marco jerked up. "Dante!" he yelled, shocked. "How the hell did you find me?" "I told you, Miranda is off limits, and now your end has come." "You can't kill me, Dante. You'll have a war on your hands. Don't destroy everything your father built because some woman spread her legs and made you feel something. It's pathetic. Watch your mouth. She's a whore, Dante, a pretty distraction. And when you wake up and realize she's turned you into a weak, ineffective—" He shot his arm. Marco screamed, clutching it. Then Dante dropped the gun and charged, beating him savagely. Marco tried to fight back, screaming for help, but Dante overpowered him. "This is for Miranda and my unborn child, and for every innocent person you've hurt in your pathetic grab for power." Marco's eyes widened when he heard, "Unborn child." "You dare me, and now I will kill you and take all that is yours. That will be your punishment." Dante's hand gripped his throat. "Please, I'm begging you, spare my life." "You attacked the one person I love most in this world. I'll never let you breathe another day." Dante squeezed until Marco's eyes bulged, then went blank. Dante released him. The body crumpled to the floor. It was over. The war, the threat, all of it. Marcus appeared in the doorway, took in the scene, and nodded once. "What do you want us to do with the body?" "Dump it in the harbor. Anyone who challenges me ends up like Marco. Dead and forgotten." "And his organization?" "Offer his men a choice. Either join us and follow the new rules, or leave the city tonight. No third option." Marcus smiled. "The city's yours now, boss. Completely. No one left to challenge you." Dante looked at his hands, stained with blood. "Get me home. Miranda's waiting." "Yes, boss." When Dante entered the bedroom and didn't see her, panic flared, but then she emerged from the bathroom. He rushed to her and swept her into his arms. "God, I thought you were at the hospital." "I came back. I've been right here waiting for you." He kissed her, scanning her body. "Are you okay?" "Yes, the baby and I are fine. The doctor confirmed it." Dante exhaled deeply, relief flooding his face. "That bastard Marco will never hurt you again. He's gone." Miranda nodded. She understood what Dante had to do, even if the thought of murder still unsettled her. "He had to go," Dante whispered as she took his hands, noticing the red stains of Marco's blood. Miranda wrapped her arms around him, resting her head on his chest, feeling safe. "Thank you for always saving me." "I'd do it over and over again, my darling. You're my family now." He held her tighter, like he'd never let go. A few days later, Dante decided the timing couldn't be more right. He held Miranda's hand, his fingers tracing patterns on her skin as they sat together in the garden. "Marry me." Miranda got still. "What?" Dante looked into her eyes. "Marry me. Not because of a debt this time, or because I'm forcing you, but because I love you, and I want to spend my life with you. I want us to build a family. What do you say?" Miranda's heart skipped. This was different from before. No contract, no obligation, just a man asking the woman he loved to be his wife. "Yes." The word came easily. "Yes, I'll marry you, but on one condition." Dante tensed. "What condition?" Miranda took a deep breath, her expression serious. "No more violence or killings." "Miranda, I know it's a lot. I know it's not easy, but I can't marry a man who profits from others' suffering. I don't want my child living in fear of her father's enemies or caught in revenge like I was. I need you to stop every dirty deal. No more illegal operations, loan sharks, or gang wars. Your empire needs to be better. Dante was quiet for a long time, thinking, but he wanted Miranda more than anything. So, he nodded. Okay. Miranda blinked. Okay? Dante's same found hers. You're asking me to change the ways that made my father great, the legacy that brought him power. But we'll find a way. I'll do whatever it takes to have you, to build a life with you. Miranda's eyes filled with tears. You mean it? I mean it never more than anything. Dante kissed her knuckles. We'll go fully legit. No more wars or predatory loans. It'll take time to rebuild the system and make the men follow, especially now that we've taken over Marco's crew. But I'll do it. For you. For us. For our future. Miranda kissed him. I love you. I love you too, my darling. You're mine forever. He kissed him again. Now, come with me. I've got a surprise for you. He took her hand and led her to the living room. A bottle of champagne popped as they entered. Congratulations! Dante's men cheered, glasses raised. What is this? Miranda laughed. Our engagement party. What? What if I had said no? I was hoping you wouldn't, Dante grinned. She laughed as the men who once despised her now hugged her, congratulating her. Congratulations, Miranda, Maria said, hugging her. Welcome to the family, Mrs. Valerio, Marcus whispered, embracing her. Mrs. Valerio, Miranda repeated, giggling. I like the sound of that, Dante said, getting down on one knee. Do me the honor of becoming my wife, Miranda Cole. She eagerly held out her hand.
He slid the ring onto her finger, then kissed her as the men erupted in cheers. Marcus handed Dante a shot. Listen up, men. Miranda is the first lady of the Valerio house. You hear her, you hear me. Take her orders as if they were mine. Understand? Yes, boss, they shouted in unison. Miranda smiled, touched. And now, Dante raised his glass, to the Queen of the Mafia. To the Queen of the Mafia, the men echoed, cheering as they drank. Music started and laughter filled the air. And to the Queen of my heart, Dante whispered, his lips capturing hers, I'll place the world at your feet. It doesn't seem fair that everyone's drinking and I'm not, she teased. Carlo handed her a glass of water. Thanks, Carlo. She sipped. Dante handed their glasses back to Carlo and wrapped his arms around her from behind, his hand resting on her belly. I still can't believe we're expecting. Miranda giggled. Me too. For 5 years, I was lost. I never thought I'd ever know love or happiness again after losing it all. And now I have a wife-to-be and a baby on the way. Thank you. For what? For accepting this dangerous Mafia King and seeing the vulnerable man beneath. For choosing me. For having my baby. And thank you for saving me, protecting me, and loving me against all odds. No one will ever hurt you or our baby again, Dante growled, his intense gaze fixed on her. They'd have to go through me first, and I'd die 1,000 times before I let anyone touch a single strand of your hair. There's no world where I could ever live without you. My forever is with you, Miranda. I love you, and you're my forever too. Their lips met again as they melted into each other, lost in a world where only they existed.
Thank you for listening to this story. She was his captive until he fell in love with her. Against all odds, Miranda and Dante finally got there forever. If you felt their love story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring you more heart-stopping romances every week.